Welcome to After the Act, a film podcast where we talk about movies and shows that we watch. We are your hosts. I am Randissimo here with
Requel, or you could call me Reek, but then we'd be crossing franchises.
Oh man, crossovers. Well, Requel, good to be back again for another ATA episode, and this time we're gonna get a little spooky with it. Last time we did the top 10 of 2021. Go check that one out. But this time we're gonna be reviewing Scream, which is the 2022 film of the same name of the 1990s film Scream. It's the fifth installment. Yes, it's not a confusing title at all. Just like the Fast and the Furious films. Both not confusing and very recommended. But yeah, figured we could talk about our relationship with the franchise as a whole. Then we'll do some non-spoiler reviews, and then we're going to get all up in them spoilers after that. And it's easy to almost accidentally spoil what happens in this movie because it's a whodunit movie. So we're trying not to say who did it, but
I did.
Damn it, Requel. Reek. But yeah, we figured just get into it. Talk about Scream, which has spanned almost 3 decades now. So, Requel, what's your relationship with Scream franchise? How do you like the franchise as a whole? And then did this match any standards you expected from Scream in quotations 5?
Well, let me start off with this. You're throwing a lot of big words at me, okay? Because I don't know what they are, I'm going to take them as disrespect.
That's 40-year-old callback there.
But speaking of 40-year-old callbacks, this movie, honestly, I didn't even know it was coming out until last month. I don't think I ever expected another Scream movie, so I stopped looking at any information. Actually, I didn't even want another Scream movie, to be honest. For any of you who have... And by the way, just because we're not spoiling Scream doesn't mean we're not spoiling the other Screams, okay? If you haven't seen the other Screams by now, I'm going to give you 3 mercy seconds to get the heck out of here, okay? Because in order to explain anything in this movie, you kind of have to go back and talk about explicit details of the previous films, but...
A little bit.
3, 2, 1. Okay, so after the events of the 4th film, I was just like, okay, there is nothing they could possibly do to make me care about this franchise anymore, right? It was way too meta, the 4th film, to the point where it almost began to spoof itself a little bit. And after that movie, the cast was already old from the previous film, so I'm like, all right, this has got to be it. And then you add in Wes Craven dying, R.I.P. I was like, all right, that's a wrap for Scream, right? I mean, the TV show was okay. I think that had 2 seasons, but even then it was way too teenagery for me. So that's my grouchy old man review on that part. But at least that was a separate story with a separate cast. It had nothing to do with the film. So I was like, all right, I get that. That's fine. But when I saw the trailer last month for this, I was like, is this a joke? Like, is this just like a commercial trying to sell me something? No, it was a real film. And then I saw the trailer. I was like, well, actually... this could be kind of good. So, and of course, I'm a fan of the franchise. Here at ATA, Malum Pictures, we love anything horror. So, of course, we're going to watch the film. But Scream is something that is near and dear to my heart. It's kind of that film that revitalized the slasher genre back in the 90s after you had classics in the 80s like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. So, it already has that clout to it. Which is why I'm always a little bit anxious when they introduce a new Scream film, because I'm just like, you're kind of tarnishing the brand that I actually really love. But all in all, it was actually a pretty solid film, even though I had no idea that it was coming, which might have actually helped because it didn't allow me to build really high expectations. I just kind of went in the theater with like a blank canvas kind of mindset, and it was actually enjoyable. And we'll get into more details on this towards the end, but it's definitely not my least favorite Scream. It's somewhere towards the top for me, but is not the best one. So all in all, very decent flick. Pleasantly surprised, not wowed. I wasn't gutted, so to speak, but I was screaming a little bit internally, just a little bit, and that was more than what I expected. So, how about you, Randy?
That's fair. I think my most generous feeling for the movie was I was whelmed. I was very whelmed, and that's at best, definitely at best. Scream in general, the franchise, I love it. The first Scream, I'll watch it every year at this point. It's just a delight. Even watching it, the '90s kind of tropes now, I just like it. It's just a really good whodunit. It's funny. It was fresh at the time, so it always gets the credit of that meta commentary angle that we like in different movies, like The Cabin in the Woods or Hot Fuzz or Shaun of the Dead. All these things that kind of comment on the genre they're in. Those are fun movies, and that's highly because of Scream. Highly because of the first Scream. And the sequels they've gotten mixed at best reviews. Like, I like Scream 2. I don't think anyone likes Scream 3. And Scream 4 was just, it was weird. This one, like, I think it's like a well-written film for what it is. I like the new characters. Like, I like the actors and how they play them. I like some of the meta commentary, like them. Like, I wondered what else can they commentate on, right? Like, what else could they do? They already did kind of like the whole selfie streaming content generation with Scream 4. What the fuck are they going to do with this one? And I enjoyed some of it. It still was way too meta for my taste, like Scream 4 was. It was way too. They are talking upon meta. Like, the amount of derivatives they were from the original equation will fill an entire whiteboard. So, and they did it because they wanted to set expectations of, the whodunit twist is going to be something that maybe you were able to guess, or it's not going to be, groundbreaking, so fans might not like it anyway. So we're probably fucked no matter what we do in the end. Like, all right, that's fair commentary, but it doesn't really elevate the story itself to be better or even good just because they point out it might not be as good as fans want it to be. So it did feel like they were kind of tapped out for certain twists. I like the characters that, there might be a couple of characters we've seen in a previous installment in this one. The future cast, like, I would watch them. There are one character in particular I love. The whodunit twist was, shoulder shrug. Okay, fine. I don't know how they could have made that inventive. Like, the movie hit my expectations, in that my expectations were that I wasn't going to be surprised or wowed by the ending. They will probably have too much meta commentary for my taste. And there might be some decent kills along the way. And I think all of those were hit. I was underwhelmed by the ending and the commentary. I thought some of the kills that they did were refreshing, kind of in the same way. Halloween kills was like, okay, they got some new kills in here. Fun. So overall, I was whelmed by it. Didn't like it too much, but it's definitely probably mid-pack in terms of Scream rankings. I do still hate that it's named Scream. Its name is Scream 5. What are they going to name the next? So this one's approved for a sequel too, so they're coming out with another one. So what is that going to be? Scream 2? Is that like they're already fucking up?
Screams.
Scream. This name is Stab. Those go right into Stab. And I do think they did the thing with honoring Wes Craven, I think, as best as anyone could with this movie. So that was it was fun to see. And I'll watch every sequel they put out, and they come on the TV show. I'll watch that shit too. It's just like the Chucky movies for me. Even the terrible ones, I'm like, I'm going to watch them. Of course I am. You have my heart. You got me young. I'm with you for life. But yeah, whelming film. If you like the original, I think it's probably one of the better sequels. But yeah, there's a lot to get to in spoilers. So unless you have anything else to add, let's jump into the kill zone here.
Really, the only thing I want to add before we get into spoilers was I'm beginning to kind of see a trend here. I'm not sure if it's intentional or not, but at this point, every decade, we're going to get a new Scream. So I feel like Scream 4, that's when we were freshmen in college, right? Not to date ourselves too much, but we were freshmen in college. So that really was geared toward our generation as millennials, right? Because we were just starting to get into the phase of Project Free TV, or what was it? What was Twitch called before it was Twitch? It was like Kyle something. But it was like right at that age of everything being streamed live, right? So it was actually really good commentary because it resonated with us in a new age, right? Because if you look at Scream 1, cell phones were a brand new piece of technology um, that resonated with the youth back in the 90s, right? And then Scream 2, early 2000s, Scream 3. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Scream 2 was late 90s, Scream
Mm-hmm.
3, early 2000s. So it was interesting to see, like, it's becoming generational at this point. Every 10 years or so, or every new generation, we get a new version of Scream that just connects with its audience just a little bit more. So I do like that. It's kind of like the go-to horror film to connect with the new generation of teens. So that's kind of cool. And I actually did laugh a lot at some of the jokes that Scream made, not the original, this one, about millennials versus Gen Zers. So that was funny. But this was very much the Gen Z Scream. Like this was geared towards Gen Z, and we'll get into that now with the spoilers.
Yeah, yeah. Like a lot of those new actors, they're young, early 20s. And it looks like the sequel is going to begin production this summer. So I guess we're going to get the sequel a little bit sooner, with Spyglass Entertainment taking over the rights there. But yeah, let's dive into it. Let's get a little stabby with spoilers for Scream. And yeah, I gotta say, like, well, all right. So my favorite part of the movie, I love the twins. I actually love them. They're like the nephew and niece of Randy Meeks, who's the original meta commentator on the franchise. Who again, he died in Scream 2, right? He was killed off there.
Yeah.
To everyone's anger at that point. But I particularly the one who plays God, what's her name in this one? Mindy Meeks Martin. She's played by Jasmine Savoy Brown. I loved her. She had good energy, good just like know-it-all energy in the genre itself. She played Randy's like talk about honoring legacies. I think she honored that character's legacy very well. Just pretty much kind of the same demeanor. I think it was like kind of like a shrine to their uncle in their house. And they're just fun. Like she's just like this fun kind of like straight up Randy character but maybe even like a little more charming than Randy was originally. So I like that her and her brother were just kind of carrying all that legacy. So everything they said, I loved it.
I will say this: I did like the cast. The cast of characters were actually pretty likable, which is weird for a Scream film because there's always just at least 5 people involved, and some of them you really don't get to care for because they die so quickly. Because Scream's not known for being these 2-hour films with elaborate plots, right? It moves pretty quickly, in the same vein of older films from like the 90s and stuff. So the fact that they were actually made me care even a little bit for all the characters just speaks volumes for the actors, and the writing. So I did like that. The cast was very likable. One of the characters, I think his name is Chad. He is played by someone, or it's the same actor that's in Booksmart, which
Mason Gooding. Yep.
Mason Gooding, yeah, one of our favorite films. So it was kind of cool to see him in a movie. Again, I'm sure he's been in other things, but I haven't seen him since Booksmart. And I will say this: I always like to start Scream by ranking it based on the beginning kill sequence, right? The beginning kill sequence in this one was actually my second favorite. I really, if I had to rank them, I would say Scream 1, you can't beat that opening sequence. It's too good. It's so iconic for so many reasons.
It's iconic, yeah.
Yeah, you see Drew Barrymore, right? You're like, oh my God, Drew Barrymore. She's an A-list actor, especially back in the 90s. She was like one of the it girls. And then you see her die in the first 10 minutes of the film. You're like, what the fuck did I just see? Did Drew Barrymore just get gutted in the first 10 minutes of this film? You can't beat that kind of hype. So the first intro sequence will always be iconic. You can't top it. But Scream was my second favorite, which is crazy. I was not expecting that. It does a really good job of integrating the commentary of old versus new, right? Because you get the beginning sequence. The house has a house phone, which is very rare nowadays. Most houses don't have home phones anymore. It's all cell phone. So the character in the beginning picks up the house phone and thinks she's talking to her mom's boyfriend. or potential boyfriend. And then it transitions into her realizing that she's talking to a creep or a killer or a stranger, whatever. Typical Scream fashion. But then she transitions to her cell phone and locks the door using a home security app, right? And that's when it transitions into the Gen Z stuff where, oh my goodness, somehow they have found a way to break into my home security system and be able to unlock the doors from their phone. So I'm not even safe that way. And it kind of, at that point, it starts to make it more relatable to the current generation. And I thought it paid so much respect to the original opening sequence that it was pretty good. It was pretty scary in the beginning. So I think that's the second best one. If I had to rank them, I would say first one, this opening sequence from Scream, then probably Scream 2, Scream 3, and actually Scream 4 had my least favorite intro sequence, to be honest. I didn't think it was very good. It had a lot of cameos, like Anna Paquin and whatnot, but it really wasn't. It was way too meta. So wasn't a big fan of the intro to that one. This was the second best one in my opinion. And it's really funny you mentioned Randy Meeks, right? Because Randy Meeks was played by Jamie Kennedy, and I haven't seen Jamie Kennedy in anything. So for me, he's actually dead. Like it almost feels like Jamie Kennedy legit passed away, which kind of works to its benefit. But what about you, man? What did you think about that opening sequence for this new game?
It was good. I was more afraid that they'll go way too like new Chucky because of the new technology. Because new Chucky was all about slight spoiler alert, but he can integrate with your smart house. So, you have essentially that Disney movie Smart House, but with Chucky for the Chucky movie. They kind of stayed away from that, but this one was good. My only criticism was the house phone. Like, get the fuck out of here. You don't have a house phone. Just leave a cell phone. You only have a cell phone in your house. But other than that, it was good. Like, particularly the part where she kept locking it with her app and it got unlocked immediately. And then she finally was able to just lock it. And then you get the call of like, now, do you think I was able to come in before you were able to lock it back again? Just that whole like, what if he is inside? Fuck, what do you do? That kind of slow build tension that's what makes the opening attack sequence good. And what I liked about it is that character didn't die. I think the character name was Tara Carpenter, but she was the one who was hospitalized. And it was all part of the plan to get another character, her sister, back into the fold so that she can be a part of what the killers were planning here. Also liked, I believe the last name was Tara Carpenter. So, homages. There's a character named Wes, another obvious homage. I was actually surprised Wes died. Actually, I thought they would keep Wes alive in the same vein of they're like, nah, man, Wes Craven would have killed anyone he wanted. So they still went through with that. But I liked it. I think it was because I was wondering like why did Tara survive? But I think it was a decent reason of like, yeah, she is bait for the older sister to come through for the killer's delight.
And I really liked that they used Tara because I'm pretty sure Tara is the name of the best friend in the first one, right? Played by
oh, it might be.
I forget the actor name now, but she was also in like the Grindhouse films with the machine gun leg, Jawbreaker, like all those iconic '90s films. She was in them. So I think her character name was Tara, so it was actually cool to see someone else named Tara in the film as well. But yeah, that was cool too. I also love the commentary in the beginning intro sequence between the killer and the character. Because they talk about elevated horror, like, oh, what have you seen the movie Stab? She's like, I did. It was okay, but I actually love the Babadook or Hereditary. Right? These are films we've talked about and how much we love them, right? And the commentary was just like, oh, you're just a snob then. Like you don't like the standard go-to horror film, but let me reintroduce you about why you should care about them. So I did enjoy that. That was some of the meta commentary that I did enjoy from this film. So it was a nice surprise. Yeah,
it was good. And like this is a movie we knew the legacy characters were going to come back, and all these characters the whole thing was kind of a legacy movie, like kind of similar to Scream 4, where it's like, okay, they're related to the original X, Y, and Z way. And all these characters were in some way. I thought it was interesting to have like these group of kids who could kind of carry on as the new main cast. Like particularly, so the actor from Booksmart, Mason, when he did his interview for casting, they liked him so much that they decided his character was not going to die, which I think originally that character was supposed to die, but they were like, we can't get rid of this kid. He needs to be in the future sequel. So I think they then wrote it in for him to survive at the very end. And I think it was me, like a couple other people in the theater who actually kind of cheered a little bit when they saw him like on a gurney giving like a thumbs up to his sister. I was like, oh, I like that guy. All right, cool. He's still alive. Awesome. And
it had a very Officer Dewey vibe to it, right, from like Scream 1 and Scream 2, because I think they were also supposed to kill Dewey in the first one. And you know how they do like what are they called? Test viewings.
Yeah, test screenings. Yeah.
Test screenings. Most of the people who saw it ahead of time, the feedback was, or test groups, that's the word I'm thinking of. The test groups said they liked it more when Dewey was alive. So they decided to keep Dewey alive. So they changed the ending. Which I don't know if they purposely did on this one, but it had that vibe to it, considering, you know, we're in the spoiler section now. They kill fucking Dewey. So I feel like one replaced the other. But we'll get into that. Continue, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to jump to that. Like, some of the significant killings in this one was Dewey, and you know, we were wondering who was going to die. One theory was all the legacy characters are going to die, but it's Dewey who doesn't make it out, which, you know, that's sad. Like, he has this redemptive thing, you know. It's an obvious one of like, I've already, you know, put in my time. I'm not going to help you kids. Like, shit, I should help you kids.
I've been stabbed 9 times and I have a limp. It's like, oh, fair enough, Dewey.
Yeah, and I do like that. I like when I see wear and tear with these characters who have been, you know, over, like, this is 25 years after the original events happen in this universe. So yeah, I love that. You know, he has fucking scars. He's tired. He has PTSD. He has he has fucking a limp that he can't get rid of because of being stabbed every fucking movie, like every movie. So I enjoyed all of that.
The Scream films.
Yeah. Also, I enjoyed there wasn't a happy ever after with him and Gail. It was like, yeah, this relationship's fucking hard. We couldn't make it work. That's very real. He was when we met him, he was depressed. Once I saw that it was a really sad Dewey, I was like, okay, he's gonna die. He's gonna have a redemptive arc and then die, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah, they got him in a hospital, and I feel like he shot the character like whoever was that Scream, I think it was a girl, like 5-7 times, and right before he was about to leave, he was like, shit, they always come back and make sure they're dead, and of course they weren't dead, and he came back and killed them. But you know, he died saving the kids. It was a very predictive series of events there, but at the very least, I like that. That's kind of how Dewey went out, saving the kids and making sure they're safe.
I have so many mixed feelings about that. Obviously, they could not go another Scream film without killing one of the legacy characters. I actually thought Scream 4 was when they were going to do that, to kind of close off the old cast to make way for the new. But they didn't do that, obviously. I will say this. There was something very disturbing about the way he died, right? Because he was killed so irreverently. He was stabbed and gutted both sides of his body. And, like, to see him literally get gutted in the silver screen was like a piece of my childhood died, which is definitely what they were going for. So good for them for doing that. But when they reveal here, okay, so this is what I want to ask the audience. When you guys listen to this episode, please tell us in the comment section, right? malumpictures.com, or, you know, send us an email, whatever. Talk to us on SoundCloud. But one of the things that really bothered me about this movie is not the fact that a legacy character died, because I expected it. I actually think it was necessary if they wanted to make another sequel and this franchise be taken seriously. They had to do it. My problem was, as you said earlier, the ending was so underwhelming, right? The ending was not a surprise at all. And the fact that one of the legacy characters that we love so much was killed by, I almost want to say, a bunch of fucking nobodies, was kind of disrespectful, right? Because if you look at all four Scream films, each one of the villains in those movies had some kind of deep ties or deep connections to the main characters in some way. And they didn't pull it off. They did not kill Dewey. But it was essentially a bunch of fandom, like a bunch of fanatics who killed him, who had no connection to him whatsoever or any of the characters. They were the ones to kill Dewey. That kind of bugged me.
Yes. Yes. I highly agree with that. That's why, like, the ending was the worst part for me. Because seeing him killed like that, it's like, it's vicious, but that's how they want to kill everybody. A gruesome, fucked up way. So, yeah, him being gutted like a fish, it feels wrong. It's like Goku dying or some shit. But it's like, all right, that's fair. But, yeah, that's the twist here. Like, at least the, Scream 4, it's like it's her cousin or something. Fine, whatever. Yeah, there's like fans who like fell in love on like a Reddit thread or some shit, a 4chan thread, about how they love the old Stab movies and they need to make new source material so that the new creators of the Stab films can use their stories they've crafted as part of the material, and it can evolve. Like, they were just, the meta shit of crafting their own requel. And it's like, yeah, exactly. They're the ones who kills all these characters. Like, it doesn't feel right that it's Amber Freeman. Like, but again, I have no idea who the characters could have been that would have been satisfying. It would have had to been the twins, honestly, because they're at least like the nephew and niece of Randy. But I love that they're the protagonists in the movie. So it was not going to be satisfying at all. I think they acted well, like Jack Quaid, who's that's the dude from The Boys, right? Jack Quaid. Yeah. And then it's Mikey Madison, who plays the other one. They were fine actors in it all. I assumed it was Jack Quaid. I did assume that. I'm like, all right, yeah, it's going to be the boyfriend, and they're going to use the fact that he was the first suspect so that we don't suspect him anymore. Classic whodunit stuff. But yeah, it was just unsatisfying for it to be the fans of Stab to kill Dewey. It's, maybe some people will like it because of that. Like, oh yeah, the fandom is what killed Dewey. But I'm like, it seems extremely underwhelming that it was them all along. Right. And again, it's like they're gonna have a sequel. What do you do when it's the fans killing them at this point? I'm like, I don't fucking know. I just don't.
Yeah, and it's so funny too, because I made the joke when I was watching. I was just like, essentially hipsters killed him, right? They're like, oh my god, I only love the original Stab. The new Stabs suck. How could you like that trash?
Yeah,
essentially,
right? Film snobs, horror film snobs. Yeah,
which is funny because they were making fun of the film snob in the opening sequence for liking the Babadook, for instance. So that to me was kind of weird. But I actually thought that they were going to go a different route, and I kind of wish they had. I was like, why is it that the sister was the only one kept alive in the beginning after each person was thoroughly killed? And I was like, okay, well, that's kind of weird, but maybe, right, they're going to go with the whole, this person was actually one of the killers, but decided to fake an attack to this level of detail to throw us off. So I actually thought it was the sister.
Yeah, that's fair.
And the best friend, right? Because they had this weird relationship that they mentioned in the beginning where, she's like, oh, you don't want her to date anyone and you want her to stay with you forever. That's motive enough, isn't it? So I actually thought it was her and the friend doing the killings, which would have been, for me, significantly better, because that's something Scream has never done, which is like attack and almost kill one of the killers in the beginning of the film. So I feel like that was a huge missed opportunity. The boyfriend was just so predictable. I really didn't like it. Honestly, I really didn't like it because they had him saying all the right things, right? He was the quirky, self-aware character. It was just like, why are we doing this? This seems like a terrible idea. Like, oh no, they're really gonna do that. It's so obvious that they're trying to hide that he's the killer, and that's the route they took, unfortunately. But I really didn't like that. Dewey got straight up disrespected in this film. They disrespected my boy. Okay. My man was stabbed 9 times and survived just to get killed by a bunch of fans. A bunch of stands, really.
Yes. Stab stands. Bunch of stab stands.
So that was unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah. Again, like if you want to brutally kill him, that's fine. But like you want it to be justified. Like you don't want to find out, Krillin was able to beat Goku or some shit. Like
you, you know what's funny too? Oh, I honestly think this is the only route they can take at this point. Eventually, it's just gonna be like, oh my god, who's the killer? And then they all like reveal themselves to be the killer, not knowing that the other person's a killer. So it's like scary movie 1 type shit. It's like,
yeah,
copycatting a copycat. Perfect. No one will suspect it. Then they all try to murder each other. That'll be the end.
You know what? I'm okay with that. And it's like it'll be like the opening sequence of The Dark Knight with the Joker thieves with the clown masks. Exactly. But Joker will be like Sydney. She just wants to end it all, so she just has all these people kill each other. That'd be better than just fans murking our boy there. What also bothered me too, it was like a movie of legacy, so they were even able to bring back the Billy Loomis character, right? He was like haunting his was it niece? Oh, no, daughter, right? That was his daughter.
His daughter.
Yeah. Which is interesting. Okay, Billy Loomis's daughter. That's an interesting legacy. What does it do to your psyche where you're the daughter of a serial killer? That's actually interesting. I do like that. But okay, it ended in the same house of Stu, right? That was Act 3 was Stu's house. And there's all these notes of like Stu might be alive. There was a plan for him to come back in Scream 2 or Scream 3, where it was like at one point that was where they're going to go. So in their own headcanon, Stu could still be alive, even though it's not film canon quite yet. It would have been way too stuffed if Stu was able to orchestrate this shit from like a jail phone. But I would have been annoyed but more satisfied if it was like Stu's involvement as like the secret benefactor of these characters. With whatever psychosis he's gone through in the last 25 years. That would have been more satisfying than it just being, again, fans orchestrating it themselves.
Maybe Stu is the Thanos of the Screamverse, right? The end game is Stu. I think that's maybe what they're going to do.
I'd be okay with that.
One's a screamer.
I gotta say, he's still my favorite character in the entire franchise. Like, it's never topped Stu for me.
He had such great lines. He's like, my parents are gonna be so mad at me.
Yeah, and I feel like the way he acted it too was just like this character who's just like Matthew Lillard is just great. He's great, and I can't tell if Stu was like maybe he was on a spectrum in some way, because his whole motivation was just because Billy wanted to do it. He was like, yeah, that's cool with me, man. Peer pressure, but. I would like to see him, like, what does 25 years in a prison do to a man who just murdered a bunch of his friends? Like, does that like mature him in a fucked up way, or like what will happen if he's able to like make parole after 25 years has passed? I'm almost interested in that, especially since I don't know where else they're going to take this franchise.
Yeah, I mean, they introduced the power of legacies, right? And the fact that these movies were for a new generation. So it's the legacies have to die to kind of give birth to something new. I wouldn't mind seeing Stu come back and just finish off the original cast. Like, just clean up house, right? Have one of the OGs come in and just kill everybody.
Yeah, like opening sequences Gale,
Exactly. Yeah, and just, obviously him being a more mature adult, being one of the original killers, they could really up the ante with the brutality of it all. I would not mind seeing that. I mean, would Andrew Lillard want to come back at this point to play a serial killer in Scream? I don't think so.
I think he would. I think Matthew's fucking down. I think Matthew Lillard is fucking. He's like, I feel like every interview he's always happy that fans still like him. Like, he'll like retweet something like of a fan of like, this is a Matthew Lillard like appreciation post, and he's like, guys, thank you so much. I think he'd be down. I think he would be.
Okay.
And I'd be down to see that too. I would be down to see that. And I'm looking. It looks like he has an uncredited cameo for this Scream.
And Scream 2 too.
It says here that Scream, obviously, then Scream 3 there was one, and then uncredited cameo for Scream 2022, which I don't know. I'll have to go back and look to see Maybe there's something like a picture. It could be like a picture or something.
It's like the Waldo. On screen. You gotta find him in every film.
I'd take that too. Like he's somewhere in the back. I would also take like a weird route where he's actually not the villain anymore. Like he was actually rehabilitated somehow, and he's helped.
Weary.
Yeah, and he's like actually going to help the Sydney and Gale characters in like this weird twist of fates, like sometimes they do with like MCU villains coming to the other side, like Loki or something like that. Yeah, I'd be totally cool with that. I will say, talking about the legacy characters, Sydney and Gale, I like that a lot of their decisions were smart decisions. Like they were the ones who, they obviously been through it for 2.5 decades. Sydney has a good life. She has a partner and kids, and she comes back like, she's fucking strapped. She has fucking enter and exit plans. Like, she's battle tested. Like she can fight. She can throw those hands. And, they come out of it not unscathed. But I like that if you're going to have these legacy characters, they can't be like the new generation of characters who are, stupid young kids who really haven't been in a horror film before. These guys have been in it for 4 straight movies. So this 5th one, they're like, we know what to do here. Like, we know how to probably survive and save some of you. So I did enjoy that take on. It's almost like how they did with Halloween, the Halloween characters. It's just like, yeah, I know I got to stay strapped to beat this entity. So I did appreciate that Nev and Courtney Cox were able to come through like seasoned veterans and take care of business.
Man, I hope so, because after 4 films, if you still haven't started making the right decisions, I'm beginning to think Dewey wasn't the one who's supposed to die here.
Yeah.
But they even play that up in the beginning of the final act, right? They see one of the killers come out in typical Stu fashion, because Stu does this in the first film where he pretends to be attacked with blood on his hands. They're like, "Is that a trap?" Yeah, definitely a trap.
Yep.
And they try to shoot her, and then she retreats, shooting at them. So I did enjoy that. One of the things that I found interesting was they really toned it down with the legacy characters. I mean, they were present, but they really weren't the highlight of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the final act, Sidney Prescott doesn't do much. Her and Gale work together to take down one of the killers, but that's only because someone of the new cast put in work and attacked.
Yeah, it was the Sam Carpenter character who was Billy Loomis's daughter, which I appreciate. Like, you have the daughter of Billy with, the former ex of Billy, with Nev, and then, Gale. Like, all right, that's a fair new trio of people who have tremendous amount of PTSD working together to kill these people. And like the Jack Quaid character, the amount of times he got fucking shanked, like goddamn, like I did enjoy how they died. Like, at least it was like kind of a spectacle. Like, I haven't seen in the Scream franchise someone get lit on fire on a stove and then run at them crazy like Tiffany and Bride of Chucky. Yeah.
Yeah, like Chucky.
And then get shot up. It was straight up Tiffany from Bride of Chucky. That actually straight up was. But I appreciate that.
What I also liked was the fact that that they actually got, I think the actor's name who plays Billy Loomis is something Ulrich, right?
I'll look that up.
Ulrich, something like that. But they actually got him to come back for this movie. You could tell they de-aged him with CGI.
Oh yeah.
But the fact that they were to get someone who hasn't been seen since the original film to come back and play a cameo like that was cool. I didn't really like the whole "it's your Jiminy Cricket" kind of thing.
Yeah, that was just weird. Like, I don't know why he would be in her subconscious like that, but yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. And then they try to make it seem like that was helpful to the character, right? Like it's a redemption for Billy of some kind. It's like, no, he was a crazy psychopath who murdered people. I don't know why you're listening to this voice in your head. I'm very concerned for you. So I didn't think it did anything for the story at all. Like, I don't know what they were trying to prove with having Billy Loomis being the subconscious, but
yeah, like I like the idea of legacy haunting the character. Like the whole, like, my dad is a notorious serial killer in this town that I was raised in. So I like that haunting the conscious, but yeah, the way they executed it was weird, especially at the end where it's like, yeah, let your killer out, let him out. and then she stabs the fuck out of this dude, and I'm like, what's the messaging here? What's the takeaway that we're supposed to have with this Billy Loomis influence? And Skeet Ulrich is what he goes by in the actor world.
Ulrich, yeah.
Skeet Ulrich. That one's it's a bit weird, but I do like that character at least. Like I can see her in the future films. I'll be happy to follow her journey to see where they take her.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, all in all, I thought this movie was fine. I thought the cast was fine. I really love the fact that they went out of their way to kill anybody who was in the sequels very quickly.
The deputy. Yeah.
Yeah, the deputy and her son got just wrecked. I feel so bad.
I know. I felt bad too. Like for one, she just got in this franchise, man, and also, damn, they killed Wes. Damn.
The man was just trying to get some food.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that was a nice ass kitchen. That's how I know I'm getting old as a 30-year-old.
It was nice.
I saw that kitchen. I'm like, damn, this movie's cool and all, but look at that kitchen. That's swag. I want a kitchen like that in the future. So my Martha Stewart was coming out just a little bit, but he got murked. My man just wanted some sushi or something to dip in some soy sauce, and he got stabbed in the face, which was rough.
Yeah,
but
I'm always kind of frustrated with these like serial killer killings because it's like a spooky mask, so like the psychology's at play, but it is a human being with a knife, and that is dangerous. But it's like, how are they able to kill this many people? Like this many? Like, come on, someone. You know what I want? I want a sincere. So next Scream, this is what I want. Opening sequence. The would-be killed character kills the masked dude, kills the Ghostface carrying dude. First scene, just murks them. It's just like, yeah, no, it's fine. You're just a fucking kid in a mask. Now you're dead. That's what I want.
For the second one, that would be funny.
Sure, yeah.
Not one.
Yeah.
The other one comes in and finishes the job. That's one thing I didn't mind though. I felt like every kill in that movie, barring the Dewey one, was because they caught the character by surprise, which is actually really true. Like you could have the greatest training, you could be the buffest person, but if someone surprises you with a knife and they get that first hit in, there's not much you're gonna be able to do.
Oh yeah, surprise shanks, very valid. Very valid way to, reason why to die. Yeah.
Which is what they used throughout this whole film. I mean, even the deputy, she got caught by surprise because she was in distress and she was going towards the house. The killer was hiding in the bushes. Wes, they did that whole thing, like him opening a bunch of doors and still nothing, and then he was caught by surprise. Dewey was surprised by his cell phone before he got stabbed.
That man should have shot him from a distance. God damn it, Dewey.
I know that part. Yeah, don't even get me started. But they at least did that in a believable way, which is fine. But I always do laugh because in the first Scream, there's just random shots where like Ghostface is chilling in the same convenience store. They're getting supplies, and it's like, how does no one see that in broad daylight?
I know. He's in a black robe. It's like 12 p.m.
Exactly. It's like, what? But you know what this franchise needs? Any franchise that has been a successful remake has one actor in it that they need to hire. They need to hire Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for these Scream films, right? For the finale, they need Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as the new deputy, gets into this huge fucking fight with Ghostface in typical Fast and Furious style, and just starts wrecking face, starts throwing teenagers through the ceiling and shit. That's the final Scream I want to see.
That's fair. The Ghostface character will be Vin Diesel. It'll be exactly. We'll want to get the final The Rock versus Vin Diesel fight. I'm with that.
Jason Statham in there,
Oh sure, yeah. Let's have a whole like Expendables cast. It's like these buff ass people carrying it through. Yeah, I'm with it. And since they're starting production in the summer, like Scream 6 is gonna come out soon. If nothing crazy happens with. Yeah, Stab 10. Yeah, barring COVID or World War III, we should get it in the next couple of years. So we'll see what that. You know what I actually want? I want Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness crossover with Scream. It's one of the verses.
Yeah, just have all the killers interact with one another.
Yeah, it'll be like a whole Scream off situation.
Exactly. Yeah, scream competition. I love it. I love it. Instead of trying to kill the villains, we try to save them.
Oh man, yes.
Get Billy his mom back. Get Stu some counseling. Yeah.
How to stand up to peer pressure, Stu.
Exactly. Exactly. See, they never saw those PSAs. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Though they were everywhere in the 90s, somehow they missed them. That was the issue. I will ask you this, though, because this is always very important with movies like this. What was your favorite kill and why?
Favorite kill. I mean, like I don't know if it's my favorite, but like the whole Wes and Deputy kill combo actually did make me sad. Like the family's wiped out, and he just kind of used, the son's impending murder to first kill the deputy. That's smart because, she's going to come through with cops and then murk the son. I thought there's some tragedy in wiping out a family. So I enjoyed the tact of that, at least. And there was also, I forgot who got stabbed this way, but like the knife came like through the side of the throat. It was like right through it, and I forgot who that was, but the visual. Which one was that, Wes? Okay, yeah. It's like the visual of it coming out right at the side. It was like, I've never seen a knife in a movie do that. Like it's usually like cut it right in the throat or a slice, but it was like just pinning him down right at like the tendon back here. I'm like, oh, that looks very awful. So that's probably my favorite stab right there.
Okay, yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I mean, if in terms of brutality, even though it wasn't a kill, Tara getting attacked in the beginning was rough because they literally stomp on her ankle and break her ankle.
Right, yeah.
Which I've never seen in a Scream film before, so that was cool. But she didn't die technically, so I can't add that. So yeah, I would say Wes and his mom just got the worst of it, because his mom got stabbed like 16 times outside, and then Wes, like you said, he just had that. He saw his death coming, and there was nothing he could do about it, which is just the worst, right?
Yep.
You're trying so hard to, and you know what's weird to me? Obviously they never tell you who killed who out of the killers, right? It's just them being one singular entity for the whole film until they reveal themselves. It would be really weird if the girl who looked like she was this thin was the one who overpowered and muscled Wes. Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm not here to get into the argument. Like,
yeah, she's a small one. Yeah, she's a small one.
Very frail.
Yeah, she's the one who killed Dewey, I believe, right? Because she made the comment of like, I'm going to be able to kill like both legacy characters or whatever.
Yeah.
So she came through like some body armor or something. Like she was. I mean, actually, she had to, right? Because she got shot like 5 times.
Yeah.
Why don't you at least get a broken rib from that? Like, what are they? What the fuck are they encasing those robes with? But
she was jacked for some strange reason. I have no idea.
Dude, fandom, man, fandom runs strong.
The fandom fuels these characters so hard.
15-year-old juggernaut.
I also did like that Dewey called it in the very beginning. He's like, "Oh, you're the killer."
Oh yeah. I did laugh at that too. Like, he got it Act 1. Like, damn.
That's a seasoned vet right there.
I appreciate that, and I did appreciate the Sidney Gale, like at one point they're like, all right, literally shoot anyone you see. Like they're like shoot on sight, which is like, that's fucked up, but it matches their characters at that point where it's like, no, we're not going to die here. Like, I got a family and shit. I got shit I want to do. We are going to kill anyone who just pops up right now.
Yeah, fuck these kids.
Yeah, it was a fuck these kids energy. And I appreciate that in horror movies. Like, fuck it all. If you kill everyone in this horror movie, no one's left to kill you but each other. So that all power to them.
and I do like the compare and contrast that they did between Sydney and the new character. Because she asked her at the very end, she's like, "Will I be okay?" And she's like, "You will, but not anytime soon. But eventually."
Yeah. She's like, "Yeah, you won't be okay, but eventually something you'll get over it in some way."
Exactly. So I did enjoy that because, obviously Sidney Prescott has gone through this for, I guess, 5 movies now. 4 actively, 5 passively, but she is like the beacon of hope, right? Despite all of that, she was still able to find someone to marry, have kids with, live an enjoyable life. So she is that typical beacon of hope, not just for Scream, but for any horror franchise. Because I don't think I've ever seen a slasher franchise or a horror franchise where, let alone one main character has stuck around without dying, and two has led a successful life and a happy life at the very end, right? Because I feel like that goes against a lot of horror film tropes where that secret ending always, the killer always comes back, or the character is always taken by surprise, so on and so forth. So that was refreshing to see.
Yeah.
On a lot of levels.
For sure.
And one thing I did notice was, beside Chad, everyone else who was alive was female. So it almost feels like they're going the all-female approach for Scream going forward.
Sure, yeah, I won't. I mean, yeah, I like the idea of more women surviving these, and the only, black character surviving. I was really happy about that. Like, yeah, let's have more diversity in these main castings. Yep. And I like to comment on, like, she has a happy life. Like, still fucked up PTSD. She has to kill a killer every, 5 to 10 years for some reason. But she made her life. And it's opposite of, the Strodes, right? The Laurie Strode's character, who just, complete, whack job, if you will, rightfully, because that, a terrible thing happened. But she's, like obsessive with what happened to her. She was not able to come over her PTSD versus this.
To be fair, there's not some teenagers attacking Laurie Strode, okay? It's the fucking boogeyman. Who, if you want to check that out, I think we did a review on Halloween Kills, right? Or the Halloween franchise.
We reviewed the entire Halloween franchise, sans Halloween Kills.
There you go. So check that out if you want more details on that. But let me just say, after Halloween Kills, that's not a man. That's something else entirely. Okay, that I get it, Laurie Strode. I'd be popping pillies too if I had that thing chasing me versus two really fanatical teenagers. But it was cool. You're right, absolutely.
Yeah.
But in terms of rankings, man, right? We've told the people, what we liked, what we didn't like, and of course, guys, let us know what your rankings are on the Scream franchise.
For sure.
How do you rank them now? Tell me.
I think the decimal ranking of Scream films, not including the television series, is Scream 1, Scream 2, I'm going to call it Scream 5. That's what it is, Scream 5. And then maybe the Scream 3 and 4 are hard because I don't really like either one. But I think I'm going to go 3 then 4. I think I actually like 3 a little more than 4. It's controversial, but yes. 1, 2, 5, 3, 4.
Okay. I would say for me it was 1, 5, 4, 2, and 3.
Okay.
I don't actually. I feel like I'm in the minority here, but for me, Scream 2 was really derivative. It really didn't do anything different from the first one. The intro sequence was weak. I love Jada Pinkett, but that was a really weak intro. It didn't last very long.
It was definitely a weird one.
Yeah, and it just seemed to, they wasted too many moments in that movie with just slice of life moments, which didn't do anything for me for a Scream movie.
Yeah, that's fair. I think what makes it for me is the motivation of the whodunits. I appreciate, okay, it's directly tied to Billy. It's directly tied to what just happened. So I appreciate those reveals. Oh, okay, that would make sense why that character's going crazy and getting some vengeance. So I think that puts it over a bit for me. But yeah, that's fair. Definitely fair.
Yeah. And 4, I actually did enjoy 4. Maybe it's because I'm biased and we saw it was really gauged towards our generation. Also really weird in my brain because Scream 4 doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but it was 10 years ago, which is crazy because that was the advertisement for Scream 4 when it came out, right? New decade. Last one came out in the year 2000. It had Hayden Panettiere in it. It had the Culkin brother in it. And I'm just like, these are people who are still very much acting now.
Yeah, they're our age.
There are age. It doesn't seem like that long ago, but it was. So that's very strange for me. But I thought the killer in Scream 4 was very psychotic and very scary, especially towards the ending sequence. So
that's right.
I did like that.
Yeah. I didn't care for the cousin. I was like, all right, sure.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine. I like that, to be honest. But hey, man, we're all biased in our own way. That's what makes films beautiful. Let us know what you guys think. Malum Pictures. Follow us on Twitch. We do these every Monday. We're right now we're switching between After the Act and the Magic Conch. So if you want to check out our previous Magic Conch episode, it's on Twitch right now, labeled The Money Episode. We'll be releasing them on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, etc. Every week. We're just getting ourselves back in the mode of doing those things. So check us out next Monday for another episode of the Magic Conch. We have our Multiplayer Tuesdays coming up tomorrow. Probably do some more Bigfoot on the new map. And then, Gungeon on Thursday for 8-Bit Retro Thursdays. And then some fun on console this Sunday. But other than that, we appreciate the love, guys. We're at 55 out of 100 for the year. By the end of the year, that's our goal. So thank you guys for making all this possible. We love you. Any closing thoughts, Randissimo, on Scream or this review or anything in general?
Yeah, just happy to be back in this. It's been a while since we've been doing consistent recordings of the podcast. That's where it started, baby. So, if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Music or Google Play, we're going to be there. We're going to be filling your ears as well. We're going to do some editing and putting these on YouTube as well. So just stay tuned. Tell your friends. We love you all. Until next time, peace. Avoid the Ghostface in your life. Survive. Take care.
Hopefully Ghostface Killer doesn't get offended by these movies.
I hope he's in the next one. He needs. Okay, now it has to be Ghostface. You heard it now. We're calling it. Yeah. Hires for writers. We're available. We're very available.
The RZA does the soundtrack. I'm all for it.
Shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, shank. Yeah, I'm with it.
All right, everyone.
Peace out.